Well, when I think about, you know, my early stages of life and what I wanted to do, actually, the very first occupation I think I wanted was to be a scientist. I wanted to be a scientist, and I loved, I didn't love chemistry, but little chemistry sets and the little erector sets and all that stuff. I just absolutely ate that up, and it was probably actually even in high school. In the beginning of high school, I wanted to be a scientist. Actually, I did an internship at NASA, and a lot of people would be surprised at that, like you're surprised at it now. Like, wow, he actually did an internship at NASA. I did, and I really, really enjoyed it. But something in me just knew that probably wasn't for me. And then I think at the time in high school, I kind of discovered this gene I had to entertain people and make them laugh. I think I wanted to be a comedian, actor, entertainer, probably from 10th grade, all the way to about maybe 5 or 6 years after college. And so that was the longest running role I wanted to play on this earth, was a role in films and television and stuff like that. So while I was at Anderson University, I actually majored in mass communications, and my emphasis was broadcast production. I had this knack or this hobby of video and editing and all that type of stuff that actually developed when I was at church, when I was growing up in Columbia, Maryland. There I started getting into sound and helping out with the video team. It was a larger church, and I was able to do that. And so that kind of, at that point, I knew like, wow, I actually like sound and video. And so I majored in that at Anderson University. And so I really enjoyed it, actually, I did. But I knew that this was something I wanted to do on the side once I left Anderson. But while at Anderson, I was very heavily involved with Covenant Productions there and doing all the production that they did with a lot of, with the Gaithers and just a whole bunch of a litany of projects that they did. I really enjoyed it. I was involved in that. But not only that, I was involved with something called the Tibus, which is a social and service club. And they had something called Cheap Thrills. And it was like the Saturday Night Live of Anderson. And I was like the Eddie Murphy or the Tracy Morgan of Cheap Thrills, and I loved it. I loved to make people laugh, and that's actually where I first started doing stand-up and sketch comedy. And so all of this kind of, launched me out in 2001 when I graduated from Anderson University. I went out to LA, and I immediately got involved in production, and I was working at a movie trailer house. I worked at Paramount and CBS and a whole bunch of other freelance kind of gigs, and I did that for a while I was moonlighting as this stand-up comedian at night at clubs. I was going on auditions when I could, and I actually even started doing voiceovers. I mean, I was in it. I was in the production side, I was behind the camera, and I was in front of the camera. I was really trying to work it and make it happen. I'm telling you, that's what I thought I was going to be doing in life. And everything that led me up to that point had me to think that's what I was going to be doing in life. And it was right around the six and a half year that I was there in LA when I was actually hit rock bottom. And not a lot of people know this, but I was at a point in time when I actually was living out of my car. I was living out of my car. I was not staying with anyone. I didn't have an apartment. I knew a lot of other individuals, so they let me sleep on their couch every now and then. I was that guy, but I mean, all my stuff was in my car. And I wasn't getting any gigs. Nothing was happening. And I just broke down. I broke down. I mean, and not like I mean, tears and snot and just, oh Lord Jesus, what's happening to my life? I was really, really in a tough spot. And it was at that point when I had to hit rock bottom, when I had to hit my lowest, when I believe God was able to say, okay, now I can reach you. Now I can get to you. The distractions are not there. Now I can let you know what it is I really have for your life. And at that point, I kind of named that moment in my life when God flipped the script on me. He flipped the script. And the rest of my script would be that I would be called to communicate, specifically preaching and teaching and bringing a message. I'm telling you, I completely rejected that. I didn't want to do that. I had no problem being up in front of people. I had been in front of people ever since high school. I mean, I've been in front of 100 people. I've been in front of, at the most at that time, 8,000 people, making them laugh, being an MC, doing comedy, tons of different opportunities to be in front of people. But to bring a message, to bring like some content where it's beneficial to someone other than, I was like, absolutely not. I'm not doing that, God. No, that's not me. And I'm telling you, it wasn't, and to hear from God, obviously I didn't hear like an audible, like, Jeff, yeah, which he could do, I'm sure, and it would scare the mess out of me. But it was a spiritual voice that just told me right out, I'm calling you out of that, and I'm calling you into this. And I don't know if it actually did. It scared me. It really scared me. I just did not want to do that. And I think it scared me, one, but I've always wanted to do this. I've always wanted to do this. That was the one thing, because I felt like this is what I was meant to do. And now I can't do that anymore. I mean, it was my love. It was my passion. And then I was also scared because, like, man, God, I can't do that. I cannot preach and teach and speak to people in a meaningful way. I can't do that. And so I wrestled with that. And when I finally said, okay, God, okay, I give up. I'll do that. I'll do it. But if you want this to happen, if that's what I'm supposed to do, then you provide an opportunity. That's literally what I said to him. I said, you provide an opportunity for me to speak somewhere. You give me an opportunity to speak somewhere. And then 3 days later, a woman named Kimberly Majeski calls me up on the phone, and she said, hey, Jeff, I know you probably don't know me. My name is Kimberly Majeski. I'm the campus pastor here at Anderson University. And, recently your name has been coming up. In the last 3 days, your name has come up in our office. And homecoming is coming up, and we usually have a chapel speaker, an alumni chapel speaker. And so we would like you to be our alumni chapel speaker this year. I wish, like now, there was a camera on my face. My response, I couldn't believe it. I'm telling you, I could not believe it, because God did exactly what he said he was going to do, and he provided an opportunity. And she said, you can think about it, whatever. And because I knew it was God, I was like, I don't need to think about it, Kimberly. I'll be there. And my very first speaking, kind of like engagement, speaking moment, opportunity to speak, give a message, something meaningful, was at Anderson University, of all places. Anderson University, over 2,000 students. Oh my gosh, I pray to the Lord no one, looks up that footage, because, when I think about what I said, I'm like, what was I saying? But thank the Lord for grace. And so I've learned a lot since then. But that would be the catalyst. That would be the moment. That would be the pilot light for what I'd be doing for the rest of my life. I know now, without a shadow of a doubt, my job is to communicate the message of God. And I think we all are supposed to do that. But the way I do it is literally from a stage. People always ask me, like, do you still do stand-up? Do you still do comedy? Every time I'm up on stage, I'm a comedian. It's just about maybe 10% instead of the 100% of the time. I'm still going to make people laugh. I'm still an entertaining guy. I'm still very engaging. If anything, that's helped me dramatically and drastically. But that is what God has called me to do, to communicate the gospel of Jesus Christ. And not only that, but he's opened an opportunity for me right now, currently. I am an adjunct professor at Arizona Christian University in the Department of Communications, and I teach public speaking. And man, if you would have told me years ago at Anderson University, Professor Moorhead's class, that I would be teaching a public speaking course, because that's what that course I was in, public speaking, that I'd be teaching that, I'm like, no way. Me teach public speaking? No way. And Professor Moorhead was amazing. And I would have never thought that would be me. And today I'm doing that. And actually, that's what I tell all my students on day one, because all of them are freaking out that they have to give speeches throughout this course. And I tell them, hey, you never know, because I tell them my story. I said, you never know. One day, years from now, you may be teaching a public speaking course. I'm also today a teaching and connections pastor. That's the very first word of my title, teaching and connections pastor. And so it's my job to equip the saints on most Sundays, to equip the saints for the work of ministry, to motivate them, to inspire them with my words. And it's not just on a stage. It's if I'm going to a coffee shop, if I'm walking to a department store, I make sure I say people's name if they have a name tag on. I make sure I try to encourage them. Everything I do, I try to bring a message of hope. And so it's quite a drastic difference, I think, from in middle school wanting to be a scientist, and in high school and college wanting to be this actor, this actor and this celebrity who's an actor and comedian everyone knows. It's quite a difference from that to where I am now. But there's no doubt in my mind that I'm living my purpose, that I'm living my calling. As Ephesians 2:10 says, God has created in me, in Christ Jesus, to do good works, that I should walk on them. So God has already planted in me these talents. He's already planted in me this seed. And my job, my role, my responsibility throughout my life is to make sure that people and other opportunities water that and open up and bring out those talents and those strengths so that I can give back to him. I want him to have good return on his investment. And he's invested some things inside of me, and it's my job to make sure I do that I should walk in him, meaning that he's already laid the path. All I got to do is walk it out. Walk it out. That's all I have to do. And so I pray I walk it out as I speak it out.